Today I interview Sue from Eigen Labs. Sue is in charge of strategic partnerships and capital markets at Eigen Labs. And Eigen Labs is probably something that you don't know much about. However, they are developing the framework for the next bull run. So drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's crack up. First of all then, can you explain what is Eigen Cloud or Eigen Layer, why it used to be called Eigen Layer and why it's now called Eigen Cloud, and what are we talking about here?
Thank you for that great question. So Eigen Cloud is rebranded this year. Last year, everyone knows us as Eigen Layer, and I'm sure a lot of the audience probably participated in our points program. So what we started as was we leveraged the ETH and then created the term of restaking. You could now deposit your ETH into our protocol, earn additional yield from like securing other protocol. So that's how we got this traction at first as EigenLayer. But that was never our intention to do like just focusing on restaking. I think we always wanted to build something that is net positive for the crypto industry. So the idea of Eigen Cloud really comes from how do we kind of bring the mass market, like mass audience onto the crypto platform? One of the things that we all join crypto for is it's like trust, right? Like with crypto, you can trust, you trust that, you don't need to leverage any centralized provider. You own your own asset, and then you have this like trust that is built by blockchain. So we wanted to leverage that and then bring it to the mass public. So Eigen Cloud essentially is built on top of EigenLayer. We say that it's a verifiable cloud platform. So it allows all the things that are built on top of us to be verifiable. So that user can trust whatever they're using. There's that level of trust there. I think I'm trying to simplify the terms and not to go into the technical details.
I'm going to interrupt you and ask you along the lines of, as a standard normal person, the person that watches this video, the normal guy that watches these videos, what can Eigen do for that individual? Like, for example, is Eigen Ethereum? Is it a better version of Ethereum? Is it something that is people send layer 2 transactions on? Well, how does Eigen best benefit the person that watches this?
Okay, great. Very directly, I think if you are ETH holder, you can earn additional yield on our platform by staking your ETH, and that ETH will be used to by operator to run a task for one of our like protocol that are built on top of us. So then you get an additional yield on ETH. And then you can also stake our Eigen token. So if you stake Eigen token, same purpose, it will secure a few of our own primitive like Eigen DA, and then you earn the yield on your Eigen as well.
What are the yields? What yields currently do you get? Do you know?
So currently the ETH staking yield, additional restaking yield is about like 1 to 2%. Like this is on top of your native staking. And then for Eigen, actually we recently have bumped up the emission number. We have a blog announcement that is coming out soon, so everyone can stay tuned on that. You could expect like a high single-digit return on the Eigen staking on our platform. But we just want everyone to read the blog post when it's out. So that's a recent development as well.
And so I've got on my magical list of questions here quite a lot of various different questions about a lot of various different topics involving Eigen, such as we've got here Eigen DA, Eigen Verify, and Eigen Compute. Eigen's been around for a long time. I always had it's always one of them things that in a bull market I buy some for a bit and then I wait and then we see what happens, and then I never remember what happens in the end because it's always many years down the line, isn't it? But Eigen's been around for ages. It's listed on all the big exchanges. But what are all of these things that you've been building over the course of the past however many years it's been?
So the company has been around for I think 3 or 4 years now, and then obviously last year when we did the TGE, it was where we got a lot of the like when we launched our token, and the TGE was when the traction when the mass market attention was on us. So all the things that we built really is more at an infrastructure level. What we really wanted to do is to enable this like programmable crypto infrastructure to allow more builders to be able to build on top of us. Eigen DA is data availability. So like in a way, it's similar to Celestia. It's kind of like improving the overall blockchain capacity, like enable people to store their information and to make the Ethereum network faster. And then for the verify and compute aspect, it is more the latest initiative that we're working on the AI space. Because I think one of the issue that a lot of people start to see is how do you trust the AI? And that's probably what mass market cares more about. In a sense where, you know, if you have an AI agent running some transaction, how do you know that this agent owned by perhaps a centralized provider is not going to rug your money? If you're participate on a on-chain like game tournament, how do you know that the money that you're gonna like, you know, put like either you're betting or you're participating, how do you know that the platform provider is not going to take that away? How do you trust these like AI agents or AI games or whatever that is run by like, you know, like all these other partners? So that's kind of where we jump in and trying to solve that, is to provide this element of verifiability where you can verify that, okay, the person who's running this game or platform is actually doing the right thing.
And so I'm going to interrupt again there and say, why is that important? Why is verification? I know why, but I think for the normal person at home, why is it important that verification is a thing in crypto?
Yeah. I think it's like, if you think about it, when the big operator nowadays for AI, a lot of them are a centralized provider. Like all your information is shared with them and you don't really know what's going on behind the scene. I think for people who join crypto, a lot of the reason why we're here is because we wanted to have full control of our money, right? Like have full control of our financial assets. But like, what about other kind of like level of like information? I think a lot of people also care about that level of trust and like, what am I sharing it with and what are they going to do about it? And especially, let's say one day you're asking an agent to run your, I don't know, like to pay for a utility bill. And then suddenly you get a notification saying that all the bills are not paid in the past. And then like whoever's providing you that software, like the agent service is like rugged everything. Then you kind of trust this like service provider that will do the right thing. But you can't, right? Like if you don't see the proof, you don't really know what's going on. You can't just blindly trust these providers. So that's something that we think a lot about. And I think that's like the intersection where crypto and AI actually makes sense.
So I also have an interesting thing that wasn't on my pre-planned list of questions, but it's something that I want to ask anyway, which is, so we're talking about trust here. What happened the other day was Cadena, which is a trustless network, decided to close its doors, shut down for good, and no longer exist. How? Well, first of all, did that surprise you as well? Because it certainly surprised me. I was like, guys, you know they're in the middle of a bull run here. Wrong time. But like, secondly, doesn't that it's a difficult one because it's a trustless network that's having trust issues.
That's a weird one for sure. Or are you asking whether Eigen will like shut down like that?
No, not asking whether Eigen will shut down. More along the lines of
like,
just
how do you manage to make sure that
how can you prevent a scenario like how the hell did they must have had, my only thought is they must have had their whole treasury in some kind of futures bet, and when the market trashed itself the other day, they lost their treasury.
That's wild.
Like, how can we prevent stuff like that happening? Because obviously the altcoin space in the past 2 days has had a massive confidence hit. It's been very like, because there's people that are out there now just selling coins because they're worried now that the company doesn't have that much money, which is a justifiable reason to sell a coin. But it's, how can you say, well, what can Eigen do, or rather what like what are you guys doing for to have that trust of the community?
let's say in this case, let's say hypothetically, if this protocol is run on EigenLayer, like using our infrastructure, how it works is that all these like blockchain verification will be run by all different operators. So we have like, I think like a few hundred operators actively validating these services right now. And each depositor put money with all these operator and operator verify the transaction. If operator, like let's say all operator found out that there's an issue, then of course like they're gonna raise a concern. But if let's say one of the operators run by this team or whatever decided that, oh, like I'm just approving these like bad transaction that will lead us to benefit but the user to lose money. And other, if like let's say if one operator decided to do that, one is extremely hard because you need certain, it's like proof of stake system, you need certain level of like asset to be able to overrun all these other operators out there. And so it's extremely hard to do that, and then it's basically impossible. And if so, that's how we kind of prevent. It's essentially the base layer of using the proof of stake system to make sure that all the operators that are operating is acting in the correct way. So one person cannot just like branch out to like do something that they want that is not the right thing.
And
yeah.
do you know currently how decentralized is Eigen? Like how many different node operators are there?
I believe like onboarded we have like 1,000 plus. Actively wise, I think there should be a 200 to 300. I haven't like read the like today's data, but it is very decentralized across different region. When we built it out, it was very intentional that we want to make sure that there's a mix of like institutional, like a Coinbase operator, and also like your individual like node validator that just represent different kind of operator background.
So here's a question that I think my community actually is very interested in, which is there's quite a few guys in my community that I know are node operators. They buy a lot of tokens and they stake them. What currently on Eigen is the requirement to be a node operator? What do you need to buy? What do you need to do? And how can you be a validator on the network and earn cash?
Yeah. So actually like there's the setup is very standard. You don't, like we have a program for that. For the minimum requirement, it really depends on what service you're opt into to validate. So for different AVSs, they have different requirement, like base layer, the basic requirement on your hardware. And on the asset level, it's actually not very like anyone, like there's no, actually before we had a bar of like minimum X amount of like ETH or Eigen to validate, let's say Eigen DA. Right now, like actually the limit is removed. So anyone can opt in and join. But of course, like the more asset that you stake, the higher the rewards will be. So it's kind of for you to decide what is the risk reward that you wanted to participate in different services.
I guess also my question is, because I used to run a node for a coin back in the day called Nulls, which was one out of Chongqing in China. It was a great project. That's how I got my first kind of involvement in crypto, was from being involved in Chinese crypto projects back in 2016. But with those guys, when we used to stake our coins, we used to host it through an AWS server. And I don't know what I was doing. I was pressing buttons on the phone with a Zoom person in China going, you need to press these buttons. It wasn't a scam, I promise. It was legit. But is it literally as simple as going onto the website, pressing stake, and then you're validating on the network? How does it work?
We have we literally have a checklist. There's like a public documents there. You just like run on, like check the requirement. I think there's some system requirement that is basic, and then Docker, and install some like CLI. It's like pretty standard. I don't think it's, I think like for me, one of my friends is an individual kind of node operator. He was able to get it done like within a few hours, like less than an hour. So it's really not that hard. But like, of course, I think the hard part is when you look at the protocol that are available for you to validate for. what do they do? That's something for you to do your own research, because they are different infrastructure, oracles, there are bridges, there are some of them like Eigen Compute, for example, is coming out on mainnet. So like running all these different protocols has different requirements. So that's something that you need to do your research on. Then you need to like talk to the team that you wanted to opt into. Like if it's Eigen DA, it's easy, you talk to the team here. But if it's like another AVS, like Redstone, then you need to talk with them and see if they still have the capacity to take on a new validator. So that's kind of how it works.
Well, I guess you can ping me that link and I'll bang it in the video description.
Yeah, for sure. I have it right here.
But anyway, back to my wonderful list of questions here. So growth for Eigen, for example. Eigen looks at growth all the time. I assume you're always wanting to grow. And of course, how do blockchain networks grow? Developers. And so with regards to Web2 developers that might be watching this, how can they onboard perhaps into the Eigen ecosystem?
Yeah. So there's a few things. Things that I guess it depends on what the Web2 developer wants to do. If you're trying to just like build an app that needs to be verified, then you can easily utilize like our Eigen Compute product, on which the current version 1 is live on mainnet as of last month. So it is pretty, like, you don't actually need to know Solidity or any of these Web3 specific coding language. You could just like write the code as you want and kind of deploy the app that you want to build there. I have another link for you to play around with that, like if you want. So it's actually very Web2 developer friendly. But of course, if you want to go deeper to say build something that is more infrastructure related, like an Oracle or like a bridge that I mentioned, then that requires like more like blockchain knowledge. So like I think like for Web2 developer, if you're app builders, it's really simple. The thing you can use is the Eigen Compute service to enable like that your app could be verified and trusted.
Is there any kind of grant scheme for building apps on Eigen?
I see. So currently we don't have any program live for that. As we just roll out, I think we're just gathering feedback. But of course, if you're here now early as, you know, one of like first batch of like builders with the Eigen Compute side, then of course we'll like, you know, think about like how do we keep you. So I can't say yes or no to this question, but I would say that there are stuff that we could do to make your app successful. This could be either like different ways. We have team that help you fundraise if you were thinking about building a company. We have team, of course, like providing some sort of like grants for the team to like operate on. And then of course we also have teams that have all the like other marketing or you know relationship for you to like make your app or product known to the public, because we wanted to make our app builder successful so that we can be successful.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I guess I've got one more question, which is if you could be rivaling any business in crypto, which would be the most relevant business that you could be rivaling? I'm talking not really about business, project, coin, whatever you want to describe it as, on the top 100 or whatever. Which one would you say is Eigen most similar to? And how I can't ask questions about speculation on price, of course, but which one is Eigen most similar to? That we'll leave it at that and let the audience draw their own conclusions.
I see what you mean. Okay. I actually think we're too unique to put in a basket, but I would say this way. So I come from a TradFi background, so I know how people are thinking when it comes to comparative like analysis and companies that you want to see what's the fair value, etc. I would say for Eigen, you can think of it two aspects, right? There's like the ETH element that I think a lot of people see that we are correlated with the ETH community, whether ETH's doing well or not. And recently there's a few ETH DAT, like the DAT, also depositing their ETH onto EigenLayer. So we capture a lot of that, like institutional growth in the Ethereum adoption, which is very unique. I don't think anyone else has that, right? Like, so you can see the kind of the ETH linkage. So we grow as the institutional adoption of Ethereum grow. The other this is the financial aspects, and the other aspect is the AI aspects. I say like what we're doing here, no one else is doing it. And I think it is a unbelievable big market for like us to step in and address. So if you look at the traditional cloud market in like the the Web2 world, it's like $1 trillion business. Now, what we're trying to do, of course, is not to provide what AWS is providing for the mass market right now. We're focusing on this verifiable part. But even just like 1% of that, like, you can kind of do the math and think about how big the potential is. So I think if you look at the AI aspect, it's really, so many people talk about AI and crypto, but really is decentralized compute the way? Is it decentralized inference the way? I personally, this is not a company view, but I personally don't think so, because those are just like efficiency issue that you will never overcome. You will never be on par with all the centralized provider. But the element of trust and verifiable, like how do you trust an AI? I think that's a question that everyone starts to realize is going to get more and more important as the AI develops. And that's where crypto is best suited, like, to solve that problem. So I think like that's why we are very uniquely positioned to be the best team to be out there solving this problem in the AI space. So with the finance element of like institutional adoption in crypto, and with the AI tech element of bringing this verifiable trust to AI space, what else do you need? I think like these two are probably the things that are going to be next few decades are going to be, on top of everyone's mind. So I would say like, again, no comments on the short-term momentum. I know market's tough right now, but I think if you look at the long term, that's where I think a lot of the value is going to be.
And I guess final question is, where is Eigen listed? Which exchanges?
Oh, everywhere. Like I guess like all the sexes that you can think of: Coinbase, Binance, like BYBIT, OKX,
And I'll just I'll
yeah.
make one point, which is that
Hyperliquid, I guess,
yeah,
also. Yeah.
when the bull market does inevitably return, the coins that are on these bigger exchanges are always going to be the ones that are safer from my perspective, because those are the ones that have got access to that massive liquidity, especially on Coinbase.
Yeah.
I would say that in today's crypto ecosystem, a Coinbase listing is so important because nobody has spot volume anymore. All of these altcoins, we saw this the other day, spot volume is gone. Nobody has spot money anymore. Everyone just does futures. For when you're trading the value of an asset, you may as well trade the futures value of the asset, especially if you're only going to hold it a short period of time, to amplify the effects and to reduce your risk from a perspective of, you use leverage to reduce risk. You put in $1,000 instead of 10 by using 10x leverage on 1,000.
Yeah.
So I actually really think that having a Coinbase listing is a very, very, very big thing in today's thing, because it's the only spot order book which is actually liquid. Even Binance has kind of proven that they're not fully liquid in the
last 10 days. The 10 days ago. Yeah, exactly. I think the collateral assessment is the issue that a lot of centralized exchange kind of ignored. So it was interesting. I guess also Coinbase, and maybe, who knows, maybe Robinhood will catch up at some point, but of course now regulated one, I think Coinbase is still the leading exchange out there.
I think it'd be so fascinating as well, just because just before filming this, CZ did just get pardoned by Trump. Is Binance going to be #1 exchange in America?
Oh my God.
Maybe.
I don't know. Do you think like it will happen? Maybe there's a poly market bet going on.
I know for a fact that within 12 months, derivatives are going to be legal in America again, and this bull market isn't over if you make derivatives legal, and you're in America. Derivatives in America.
Yeah.
Like, come on, this is we're only just getting going on this journey upwards. That's my genuine and honest opinion on the market. Is people forget You just saw an example of what happens when there is too much leverage in the market. But imagine when the money is stacked in the other direction with legitimate regulated futures contracts from Americans that can accept massive amounts of capital, rather than doing that $1 billion a month DCA on Bitcoin that these treasury companies are doing. There'll be some degenerate out there that decides he's going to do a 10x leverage Bitcoin ETF, and he's going to decide to open up in terms of my outlook for the market at the moment, I'm buying a lot of American exchanges stocks. Gemini, for example, Gemini bought quite a lot of Gemini stock because Gemini's stock is only valued. I know this is not relevant to Eigen, but I find it interesting, and so will the group.
That's fine.
But Gemini is currently valued just about $2 billion, and Gemini is doing daily revenue. Revenue is different for crypto exchange because you have volume, but they're doing daily revenue of 370 million. So they have a 2 billion valuation. You're doing $370 million a day, meant at spot volumes.
I didn't know that. Like I also haven't looked at Gemini for ages.
Yeah,
like because it just doesn't feel like a lot of people use it.
Yeah, no one cares. But the thing is, when they make derivatives legal, who were the first people that threw money in Trump's pocket? It was the Winklevoss twins. The first people that threw money in his pocket at the first opportunity were the Winklevoss twins. So when it becomes derivatives become legal, Gemini is going to. Please come on, Mr. Winklevoss. I hope we've got the same plan in mind here, because we're going to make a lot of money together. Because you can imagine, if you change from a spot exchange to a derivative exchange, and you're legit and you're Gemini and you've done everything by the book for the past 10 years, and you launch derivative markets when they make that legal, your profit margin jumps up by 1,000%. Which means that your company valuation jumps up also by 1,000%, literally just by enabling legal derivatives from America, which means that 2 billion becomes 20 billion. And that's the logic on the Gemini. But this is not financial advice, and you should always do your own research and read the disclaimers in the comment section.
Yes.
But that's what we spend a lot of time here discussing on the channel. Like, where are the opportunities in the market? And I guess from Eigen's perspective, you're capitalizing on the whole AI thing, and I mean, I'm curious to see how it goes for you. I think I really believe in the technology. It's a case of, can we make technology and AI talk, like as in like crypto technology and AI? Can you make it mesh together so that it makes sense?
Yeah, I would say like one thing I feel the market is very frustrated, probably for the last year, this year, is that if you look at crypto, net new kind of innovation has not been that much. It's like people have seen that crypto still stays as a bubble, that it has not really gathered the mass market's attention, like how we did it pre-FTX. So there's no new fresh money coming in because people kind of see it as a I think outsider looking in still sees it as a bubble. So I think like, where do you actually bring the like value and the revenue that is actually coming from the tech? You're creating something that's useful for people. That's really the key, right? I think that's how probably like poly market, like prediction market, has a use case, because it actually helps you gather some intel about like what people are thinking about. Like hyperliquid, of course, exchange model bringing real revenue. So people like that, like people that actually provide a product that is useful and generating revenue, right? So I think that's kind of something that we are very confident in, that we have great team that is product focused, tech focused. And then we're confident that we're gonna like keep solving the problem and bringing real use case for the public market.
No, I think it'll be interesting. We'll see. The AI stuff has got a long way to go as well, and Nvidia's got a hell of a lot more GPUs to sell, so that'll be fun to watch that stock price over the years, because I'm sure it's not done yet. But on that note, it's been a pleasure having you on the channel. Any final regards with regards to Eigen or yourself? Where can people find you on the internet? What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, my Twitter handle is quite not really related to my real name, but it's called 0x Tonkatsu. So if you eat like Japanese fried like pork, that's like what it is. So 0x Tonkatsu is my handle. So feel free to follow me there. Or like give Eigen Cloud a follow. The handle is still Eigenlayer. I think the alpha really, if you want to get like the latest update, just look at our Twitter. and we have like, you know, the new programmatic incentive blog post coming out. We recently just did like Google announcement that really moved the market. So, you know, don't miss out all these things that potentially could move the market by not looking at our Twitter. So follow us there. You know, whenever, if you have a question on node operator, how to participate in the ecosystem, shoot me a DM over on Twitter. But yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you today. It was really great. You know, we chatted a lot of things. We'd love to talk more about markets and stuff, but won't be using the Eigen channel for that.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. Anyway, yes, a pleasure speaking to you.